Hello Internet! Welcome to the first installment of Romney's Reviews. The Woman in Black is based on a 1983 novel by Susan Hill, which drew heavy inspiration from many classic horror stories that rely on atmosphere to build suspense instead of a lot of the jump scares, shock, and gore that we see in most American horror films today. The Woman in Black has also been adapted into a TV movie and one of London's longest-running stage plays, second only to the Agatha Christie murder mystery, The Mousetrap. The story of The Woman in Black follows a young lawyer named Arthur Kipps, played by Daniel Radcliffe, who was sent by his law firm to a small market town to settle the affairs of the recently deceased Alice Dreblow. Over the course of the film, we see the young lawyer unravel the mystery of the Eel Marsh house, as well as discovering the terrifying secret behind the eponymous Woman in Black. There were a lot of things that I liked about this film. First off was how it was paced. While many people may say the pacing is slower than most American horror films today, this pacing is actually really good. The slower pacing of this film allows it to properly build suspense, something that is rarely seen in most American-made horror films. It also doesn't try to explain everything in it. It uses the fact that you don't entirely know what's going on to its advantage. Whereas most horror films would try to explain, oh, these are how ghosts work in this universe, this one leaves it all to your imagination. And that's what makes it even more terrifying. Now, the acting in this film is also really well done. Daniel Radcliffe does a really good job becoming this whole other character separate from what we are used to. Daniel Radcliffe really portrays the fact that this man is in a rough patch in his life. He's in danger of being fired, he's forced to raise his son on his own with only the help of a nanny, and not to mention that he's sent to a town that's completely hostile towards all newcomers. As well as the fact that he's trying to settle the affairs of someone who lived in essentially a cursed house. But that's beside the point. The cinematography in this film is also really interesting because instead of calling attention to itself, which too many films have been doing nowadays, this one uses the cinematography the way one should in a horror film. You also see how there's many unexplored corners of the house. We don't see the whole house, which is another thing I liked. So you never know what's happening. You never know where the next thing to happen could come from. And it's not limited to the house either. The Woman in Black appears all over the whole town, wreaking havoc. Even though you don't really see a lot of gore or anything, it's still pretty disturbing. Overall, this is an amazing horror film. This is an amazing film in general, and really is a good note for Hammer to return on. If you're a fan of classic horror stories, like the classic monster movies made by Universal, or many of the previous Hammer horror films, this is a film that you will enjoy. This is also good if you're a fan of British theatre, since this thing really combines elements from both stage acting as well as screen acting. On my personal scale, I give The Woman in Black a 4 out of 5. So yeah, go out and watch it. Bring a whole bunch of friends if you have to. But be prepared to be terrified to the very depths of your immortal soul.